Okay, so welcome to today's video. We're going to be talking today about percentages. So just sort of introducing the idea of percentages to you and just trialing a new way of doing the flip videos too. We'll see how that goes. So percentages are really, really important as far as your maths goes and your life in the real world goes, because percentages come up everywhere. You probably get, or your parents probably get, heaps and heaps of junk mail every week that just has percentages in it. When you have to deal with the bank and financial stuff later on in life, you need to be able to wrestle with percentages, because yes, there are people there who know a lot about it as well, but you also would be great if you could deal with it too. Okay, so percentages are essentially another way of describing fractions, and the simple percent is a Latin word, percentum, which means out of 100. And for example, we could say something like 67% is the same as saying 67 out of 100, which is the same as saying 67 over 100, which is the same as 0.67. Okay, so all of those things are exactly the same, hence the arrows and the fact that percentages are just another way of dealing with fractions. Okay, probably the main thing that you're going to need to be able to do straight up is to be able to convert between fractions, decimals, and percentages. So we're going to look at first converting from a percent to a fraction. Okay, so I've tried to use some kind of algebra here because that's going to come up more and more this year. So from some x percentage to some fraction a over b. Okay, so there are two steps to changing a percentage to a fraction. You change the percent to a fraction with the denominator of 100. Then you simplify if you're able to. Okay, so for example, we're going to convert 45% to a fraction. So let's set this up. We're going to go 45% is the same as 45 over 100. Okay, so you sort of notice what I've done there. And now we simply carry out any simplifications if we can. 45 and 100 are both multiples of 5, so we can go 45 divided by 5 over 100 divided by 5, which gets us 9 over 20, which we can't go any further than that, and so we're finished. Now, just want to let you know, I'd like you to start setting out things like finishing off with therefore 45% equals 9 over 20. Okay, so I'd like you to start to get that kind of formal maths writing in your maths work as well. Okay, so that's how we do conversions, percents to fractions. Next, we'll look at converting percentage to a decimal. So this one's quite easy. First off, all you need to do is divide the percentage by 100%. So we're going to, for example, convert 17% to a decimal. So we kickstart by going 17% is the same as 17% divided by 100%. Now, you may remember from your algebra last year, it's okay to do something on this side of an equation if we've done the same thing on this side. But we haven't done anything to this one here, although we have divided by this 100% over here. So are we allowed to do that? Let's have a look. Remember that 100% meant 100 out of 100. Okay? Or we could have also said that this is the same thing as saying 100 divided by 100, which we all know is 1. And you can times things by 1 without having to change anything else, because that's okay to do. So essentially we're dividing 17% by 100 over 100, which is totally okay to do. So we end up with 17% divided by 100%. Our percentages kind of cancel out here, and we're left with 17 over 100, which is 17 divided by 100, 0.17. So therefore 17% is 0.17. Now yes, I've done a lot of working there, and later on you might get so good at this that you just can do it by yourself, and that's fine, and just go straight from this here, straight from this to this, and that's cool too. This is just showing you full working just for when you're getting a handle on it to start with. Okay, changing from a fraction to a percentage. Right, so there's a couple of things we're going to do here. We multiply our fraction by 100%. Now remember that this is the same thing as saying timesing by 100 over 100, which we know is fine because that's the same thing as timesing by 1. Then we carry out our fraction multiplication as normal. Right, so convert 1 over 5 to a percentage. So 1 over 5 is the same as 1 over 5 times 100%. Okay, now we just carry out our fraction multiplication, remembering that this is the same as 1 over 5 times 100 over 1%. And then we're going to end up with 100 over 5%. So remember that the tops multiply and the bottoms multiply. 1 times 100 is 100, 5 times 1 is 5. 100 divided by 5 is 20%, and we're done. So therefore, 1/5 is 20%. Okay? Now, again, you might get familiar with that and be able to go straight to it, and that's cool. But just showing you full working for now. Right, converting a decimal to a percentage. So simply for this one, we multiply the decimal by 100%, remembering that that's the same as multiplying by 100 over 100, which is totally fine to do. And for an example, we're going to convert 0.976 to a percentage. So 0.976 equals 0.976 times 100%. And when we multiply numbers by 100, we shift our decimal point 2 places, and so we end up with 97.6%, and we're done. Okay, so that's one that was pretty easy. Now, there's a couple of common percentages that I want you to be familiar with as we go throughout this term. So here's a table here. I've sort of got some common fractions here, and I'm going to put the percentages in. So a half is the same as 50%. A third is the same as 33 1/3%. You could also write that as 33.3 recurring percent, and that's fine. Quarter is 25%. Fifth is 20%. An eighth is 12.5%. 2/3 is 66 2/3%, or you could write it as 66.6 recurring percent, and 3/4 is 75%. Okay, now a lot of this stuff may be revision for you, and that's fine. This is the first, it's an intro. A lot of it's probably covered in grade 7. But I'd like you to become really familiar with it, because this is the kind of stuff that you need to be able to just do like that straight away without any dramas, okay? So please have a look at some of the stuff in the textbook maybe, and come along with plenty of questions to class. Thank you.